Hello everyone. Next topic is security services. Today we are going to discuss about the topic about security services. What is meant by security services? Security services is nothing but introduction to security services. Security services, we have both security attack and security services. How protection has been occurred. That is occurred attack is nothing but security problem, while service is required based on how the requirement has been occurred in protection. So security services is nothing but a security services or functions provided by a systems or communication protocol to protect information and computing resources. That is mainly focused to protect the information and computing the resources. It's mainly help to counter the security attacks by providing the protection for data, users, devices, and communications. A security service which mainly focus on what type of protection should be required for the security mechanism. While security services mainly focus on the what type of protection should have, while security mechanism will focus on how the protection has been implemented in the system. Okay, this is the main concept of security services. Where the security services has been implemented means network security, cloud security, online banking, e-commerce, and security communication. We are going to use the security services. Then what are all the major security service we have? We have five major services. One is authentication, another one is access control, data confidentiality, data integrity, non-repudiation. What is meant by authentication? The main purpose of authentication means authentication itself known about, it's an identity of the entire user or source of information. Okay, that is known as authentication. We have peer peer entity authentication and data origin authentication. We have two type of authentication. Peer entity authentication means it will confirms the identity of a communicating party during a connection. That is known as peer entity authentication. Data origin authentication means it provides the assurance about the source of received data unit. That is known as data origin authentication. While mainly authentication helps to reduce the impersonation and unauthorized account use. Example, passwords, cryptographic credentials, and digital certificates are an example of a authentication. Next, access control. Access control is nothing but it mainly prevents the unauthorized users or process from using a protected resources. That is, once the identity has been established, the system mainly determines what action by the authenticated entity is permitted to perform. Okay, how the permissions has been occurred. We can able to the based on the permissions, we can able to control reading, writing, modifying, deleting, or executing resources, all based on the access control. The main principle is it has a least privilege recommendation, giving users only a permission required for their task. That is, it will give the users some of the requirement based on the use. Next, data confidentiality is nothing but, if you all know that confidentiality is mainly used for a secure and secret, is it no? So confidentiality which will mainly protects the information from unauthorized disclosure. Okay, how the data has been effectively protect the information from the unauthorized resource or unauthorized attacker, that can be comes under data confidentiality. Next, what is data integrity is nothing but we will give the assurance that information has not altered by any unauthorized user. That means once the information has been occurred, that information has not altered by an unauthorized user, is known as data integrity. So that we are protecting the modification, insertion, deletion, or replay or data depending on the protocol and services. So integrity which mainly checks the receivers to detect whether the data changed during the transmission of or not. That is known as data integrity. Then non-repudiation is nothing but it is the evidence for the communication or transaction. That is, Non-repudiation means it's the origin that helps provide evidence that particular entity sent the data. That means once the data has been sent to the sender to receiver, the it will receiver has received the message without any alteration that can be confirmed by a non-repudiation service. That is known as non-repudiation. The main objective is to reduce the disputes in the falsely denials of a relevant action. So digital signatures and trusted supporting services can contribute a non-repudiation. Then these are all comes under security services. While security services and mechanism is nothing but we have security services, confidentiality, authentication, integrity, and non-reputation. When it comes to mechanism, encryption, credentials, integrity checks, and digital signature will comes under security mechanism. That will be detailedly discussed in upcoming videos. Thank you all.